This is episode number 37 of Hitting for the Cycle. That's Ben Kruse. I'm Ryan Touhey, and summer is officially here. The weather's really heating up. And Ben, this was a good week for you personally, I'd say.
Yeah, ever since the Tom Brady ceremony was at last week, as you guys can see, I'm back at my normal spot. And I told you, Ryan, hopefully that the Celtics are going to become NBA champs by the time I came back here, and now they are, thankfully. It was a long, stressful type of road to happen. But yeah, I couldn't be any more proud of those guys. I heard they're doing a parade tomorrow. Fortunately, I won't be at, but for anybody that is going, hopefully celebrate it, enjoy it. And the Red Sox might have had their best week of the season also. They were like, all right, the Celtics just won the finals. We're going to start actually playing some really good ball. So the vibes are great. The weather is a little on the hot side, but it's still the both two teams that I've been supporting are kind of hot right now. So I guess that's kind of the vibe.
Yeah, very good week for you in New England. So congratulations on the Celtics winning the NBA championship.
Thank you.
And yeah, we're going to get into it. We got a lot of stuff to cover in this episode. But before we do, we obviously want to remind everybody to follow Hitting for the Cycle on Facebook, X, and Instagram at HFTC Follow the Empty the Bench Podcast Network at ETB Network. Follow our YouTube channel at youtube.com/ETB Network. You see it right here. And finally, listen to us on whatever platforms you get your podcasts. Microphone is off, Ben.
Sorry about that. This episode through you guys presented by Playback. Watching sports is more fun with others, but we spend too much of our time watching alone. Playback is a virtual space where communities can stream live sports together with everyone perfectly synced up. Creators can hop on stage, deliver their own play-by-play analysis and commentary, and invite viewers up for Q&A. Playback makes watching sports fully interactive and a social experience. From playing fantasy sports, repping your favorite players and teams, and watching with commentators and communities you care about. Win or lose, sports are best enjoyed together. Join our community by going to playback.tv/ETB Network to find out more, including our live stream schedule. We just completed our NBA season. I want to thank Playback and everybody that was part of the Empty Bench Network for doing this great overall NBA season. And we hope to have more stuff coming up on Playback. So make sure to join in for the latest stuff that'll be coming up soon. We'll get it to you guys pretty soon.
All right, so let's get into it. We got a lot of stuff to cover, like I mentioned, and we're going to start off with the biggest news to break around the baseball world this week. The baseball world is currently in mourning. It's been in mourning for the past couple of days as one of the game's all-time greats, an icon in the game and its history. Willie Mays, the Say Hey kid, sadly passed away on June 18th at the age of 93. Willie Mays is undoubtedly one of the greatest baseball players in history. He is definitely among the top 10, maybe even top 5 all-time greatest players. Everybody's got their different lists. But to me, he's a top 10 all-time great easily. And Mays' career speaks for itself. A 24-time All-Star, 2-time National League MVP, 1954 and 1965. He played, obviously, with the New York and San Francisco Giants and the New York Mets. He was the 1951 National League Rookie of the Year. He won 12 Gold Glove Awards, was a phenomenal fielder, obviously is best well known for his amazing catch in Game 1 of the 1954 World Series against the Cleveland Indians, where he ran straight back and made an over-the-shoulder catch. And that helped lead the Giants to a 4-game World Series sweep over Cleveland, who were heavily favored to win that series. Many people thought that the Indians were going to sweep the Giants that World Series because the Indians won 111 games that year, if I'm not mistaken. But the Giants reversed it and swept the Indians. So Willie Mays also, obviously, 3,293 career hits, 660 career home runs. 4-time home run leader, a batting champion, 4-time stolen base leader. I mean, this guy did it all. I mean, what else can you say about him? He's one of the greatest players, like I mentioned. He's a legend in the game. And the game definitely lost a a true icon. There's no other way to say it. Willie Mays, you mentioned his name. He's up there with guys like Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig. His name is among the greats. And to me, we lost to Hank Aaron a couple of years ago. So Mays, in my opinion, was like one of the last kind of, like immortal like figures still around, on Earth. And we're kind of, moving further and further away from those days. And it's definitely sad, but, Mays, he lived a very good life at 93 years old. And yeah, rest in peace to Mr. Mays, to say, hey, kid.
Yeah, just very devastating. I didn't know that he was getting this old, honestly. I'll be frankly honest with you. But regardless, just really, really tough news. My thoughts and prayers go out to their family. Um, and like you said, he did it all. He was one of the greatest players to ever do it. Along with Hank Aaron and a bunch of different other guys, Babe Ruth, obviously. And yeah, so he played for, obviously well known with the Giants. Um, he's actually his first team that he played with in 1973, 1972. Well, the first half of 1972 was with the Mets. Um, the biggest year that he had in terms of home runs was in 1965 with the San Francisco Giants. He hit 52. So yeah, I mean, in terms of offensively, he could hit the ball out of the park. Like you said, his most iconic moment was from the field, making that over the shoulder catch against the Guardians. I know I say Guardians, but it was the Indians back in the day. So yeah, just really heartbreaking, and we're gonna mourn for this, Ryan, this loss for a pretty long time because obviously everybody that passes away, we mourn regardless. But for some legends, like somebody that essentially that we accustomed kind of knowing for a long period of time, it takes a while sometimes to just get over this because it's like, man, like I was even telling my dad a couple of days ago in terms of this, and he's just like, this is one of the last guys from that kind of era, back in the day that we kind of still had. So it just really just kind of hits you, and it's just it's really really unfortunate.
Yeah, and Mace is on a lot of baseball fans' Mount Rushmore of greatest baseball players of all time. Like we mentioned, and going off what you just said, he was basically the last legend of that era to still be around, and most of those legends are now all gone. I'm talking about the guys who played from like the 40s to 50s and so on and so forth, and Willie Mays always had a genuine enthusiasm for baseball. He played it. He had a flair for the dramatic too, and yeah, he was well liked, well respected around the league. Many people always mention how big of a fan they are of Willie Mays, and yeah, he did a lot for the game. He was a great ambassador for the game. He always tried. There was a saying that he said when he ran the bases. He always had the smallest cap on his head, so that way it would fly off as he was rounding the bases to try and entertain the fans a little bit more. And he was tremendous. He was just a tremendous, gifted baseball player. And yeah, the game definitely lost an immortal, an icon. And yeah, but his legacy, without question, is going to live on forever. No one's ever going to forget Willie Mays. He's enshrined in Cooperstown, New York. Obviously, he's a Hall of Famer. And yeah, it's definitely sad. And the Giants are going to wear a number 24 patch on the front of their jersey for the rest of the year. Nice, classy gesture from them. Willie Mays is also the godfather of Major League Baseball's all-time home run leader, Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds released a statement. A lot of former Major League Baseball players released a statement, just giving their condolences to the Mays family. And yeah, I don't know what more else you can say about the guy, but other than he was a hell of a ball player and one of the greatest of all time, and his legacy will live forever. So, the last thing I guess was he was a five-tool player. He did, like you mentioned, he did everything. He could hit, he could field, he could hit for average, he could hit for power, he could run the bases. So he could just do everything. There's really not. I don't know if I could add more anything else. I think basically we just covered all the bases when it comes to Willie Mays. So rest in peace to Willie Mays. He passed away on June 18th at the age of 93. He lived from 1931 to 2024. So yeah, rest in peace to Willie Mays. And now we're going to get into our next topic, and this is another controversial gambling scandal. Major League Baseball umpire Pat Hoberg, who is one of the more respected umpires around the league, or I guess was one of the more respected umpires around the league and one of the more trusted umpires around the league. He called a perfect game in Game 2 of the 2022 World Series between the Phillies and the Astros. He got every call right behind home plate, accurately called balls and strikes. He is in hot water because apparently he's been involved in a gambling scandal, and Major League Baseball released this statement on June 14th. And when I saw this news break, I just went, "You've got to be kidding me!" As if we didn't have enough gambling scandal news going on this year. It seems to be spreading around the league, and for it to happen to a guy like Pat Hoberg, who is an umpire and, like I mentioned, one of the more respected ones, my reaction was, "Dude, how do you do this to yourself? Like, how do you do this to yourself?" So Major League Baseball, I'm reading this from ABC News. This is coming from Mike Fitzpatrick. He's an AP baseball writer for ABC News. Major League Baseball they're going to plan to discipline Pat Holberg, and it's an investigation, potential violation of sports gambling policies. So nothing is official just yet, but Major League Baseball is convinced that he definitely partook in some fishy action in gambling. So this was a statement for Major League Baseball. While MLB's investigation did not find any evidence that games worked by Mr. Holberg were compromised or manipulated in any way, MLB determined that discipline was warranted, and Mr. Holberg has chosen to appeal that determination. Therefore, we cannot comment further until the appeal process is concluded. Major League Baseball began investigating Holberg back in spring training, and he was removed from the field while the probe was going on. And like I mentioned, this was all coming from ABC News. And Holberg has been in the league for over 10 years. He umpired his first game in 2014, and like I mentioned, is one of the better home plate umpires around the league. And like I mentioned, he called a perfect game in Game 2 of the 22 World Series in Houston, where he accurately called balls and strikes. And yeah, when I saw this, like I mentioned, I was just like, "You got to be kidding me!" And I don't know if you have any thoughts about this.
Yeah, I didn't really know much until you showed me it yesterday. But I definitely remember the name, Pat Hoberg. He was kind of the ones up there actually with Angel Hernandez, funny enough. But Holberg was actually one that was pretty solid as overall job over doing umpiring. So, yeah, I just feel like we're on the last couple of weeks where we were talking about gambling or injuries. It's kind of the main story of this of this baseball season. And we just have another one of these type of cases. Baseball, I think, really is the policies. They're really just trying to make it as straight as possible. If it hasn't been kind of already, because just saying involvement really just like they essentially just kind of see something that you're just kind of being a part of, even if people are doing a lot of gambling at this point in time, which people are. Um, you know, if you're specifically in the league and you're doing something like that, they're going to pretty much essentially throw the hammer at you in terms of like they're not going to take um, any BS essentially from essentially the stuff that you're doing. And yeah, I don't know in terms of how long he's going to be suspended for, but yeah, just that sucks.
Well, we'll see if this suspension ever ends. I mean, or if he ever comes back to Major League Baseball, depending on what they find in the investigation. But when it comes to being a part of professional sports, I especially would just not want anything to do with like gambling or whatnot. Once you do it, no matter what it is, um, you know,
It's
it's
addictive.
too big of a risk. It's way too
Mhm.
big of a risk. And also, this is an interesting fact: the last major American professional sports official known to bet on games was NBA referee Tim Donaghy, who in 2007 was sentenced to 15 months in federal prison after pleading guilty to conspiracy to engage in wire fraud and transmitting betting information through interstate commerce. And Donaghy admitted that he bet on games for over 4 seasons and passed along tips to gamblers. So this is a very serious issue for Mr. Hoberg, and for his sake, I hope that what he did was minimal, as low as it can go. But regardless, his legacy now is forever stained. I mean, people, like I said, had a lot of respect for him as an umpire, and he was, always lauded as one of the better umpires around baseball. But now this is going to hover over him, basically for the rest of his professional career. Depending on whether or not he even comes back to Major League Baseball. That is we have to wait to see that, depending on what they find in this investigation, like I mentioned. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys, more of these guys are playing with fire each year, and this is not good for the sport. The fact that this is going on still, in 2024, and we've already had another gambling scandal that happened earlier this year, taking all the headlines with Ibe Mizuhara, and also we had those couple of players. I forget his name. Oh, Caparano or whatever his name is, who we covered a couple of episodes ago, the player from the Padres. We had that incident. So a lot of guys are just starting to push the envelope a little further. Tuco Pizza Marcano, that's who it was. I'm not good with remembering names, but yeah, it just seems to be more and more frequent going around the league. And like I mentioned, it's not good for the game. And like I said, for Holberg's sake, we'll see what happens. I mean, doesn't really concern us as baseball fans. If it was a ball player, that'd be a different story. But this is an umpire. Umpires come and go. They're a revolving door each year. So it sucks. Because umpires this year are being harshly criticized for being worse than ever. And I agree with that. I think
Besides
umpires.
Angel, Angel had to go.
Angel had to go. Yes. But major league umpires this year, their performances have not been good. They've been scrutinized, and most of the time, rightfully so. Most of the time, the way that they've conducted themselves on the ball field, getting in the face of ball players. Maybe part of them, I'm sure, is sick of being berated and called out. But the umpire union is too strong, and yeah, they're starting to fight back. I think trying to flex their muscles a little bit. Maybe Hoberg thought that he was invincible because he was one of the few respected umpires around the league, saying, "Yeah, they won't do anything with me." Maybe he got a little cocky and decided to get involved in something like this. I don't know. I'm not in his head, and honestly, I don't really care what it was going through his head. But regardless, he knew, regardless of whether or not he participated in gambling, he knew the ramifications. So, if he did end up doing this, then I really don't have much sympathy for him. So, yeah, that's all I got to say on that. And now we'll move on to another interesting piece of news. The Houston Astros have cut the cord with Jose Abreu. Jose Abreu, as we all know, signed a 3-year deal with the Astros going into last season after the Astros decided to part ways with longtime first baseman and World Series hero Yuli Gurriel. The Astros decided to take a chance on the veteran Jose Abreu, who had spent his whole career with the Chicago White Sox prior to that point. And Abreu was just a complete disaster with the Astros. It took him forever to hit his first home run as an Astro last year, and he never got going with the bat. He just looked slow in his swings. He definitely just looked like a shell of himself. He did not look anywhere near the kind of ball player he was with the White Sox. He did not look like the MVP winner, the White Sox. He was just a different player. And, I think age definitely played a role in that. But it was just shocking the drop off and how quick it happened. I mean, age catches up to everybody eventually, but it just happened so quickly with Abreu. As soon as he switched teams, he just was not the same player. And it got to the point where it was so bad that the Astros had to send him down to the minor leagues this year. And Abreu obviously came back, but it was too little, too late, as the Astros, are just going to eat the rest of the contract, and they owe him more than $30 million. I was a little surprised how poorly this went. I mean, Jose Abreu was one of the more respected first basemen around baseball, maybe the more overlooked first baseman in baseball as a White Sox. But he just never got it going with the Astros. It was a disaster. It may go down as one of the worst contracts in Astro history, easily. And I mean, what else can you say about this? This was just bad.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm not surprised that they did this, but I'm surprised the way that like you mentioned, the tenure kind of finished off with him. With the White Sox, he was actually pretty much an all-star. Kind of the way that he was batting. I mean, just looking at his overall stats with Chicago, he was pretty much hitting around up in the 290s. His highest average was 317 in 2020. Obviously, that was COVID year. But even after the COVID year, he was still batting respectably 261. 2022, we batted 304. So, I mean, he was consistent as they come. He was one of the most feared hitters in baseball, at least when the Red Sox had faced the White Sox. He'd be actually one of the only respected players that the White Sox really had for a long period of time, along with Luis Robert Jr. But and yeah, what's shocking too, Ryan, is like a lot of times, like when you go from like one team to another, especially the Astros, where the Astros typically do really, really well with bringing guys in, and they just keep on going. I remember when the signing happened, Jose Abreu to the Astros. I mean, I was like, holy smokes, because I wanted the Red Sox to get him at the time. I know when he was out there in the market, I'm like, damn, I would love to see Jose Abreu become a Red Sox, play first base. And then when I saw him with the Astros, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And, I thought he was going to be an absolute force of that lineup with Altuve, Bregman, Alvarez. And, they had him batting in like the 5-6 hole, just kind of start off his overall tenure there. And, he started off, I think, all right, but then kind of the last couple of years, whether it was just inconsistencies, I don't know if he was batting any injuries. He was never really a good fielder. He was really just more of a decent bat. This year, just a complete fall off was, I guess you could say, needs to be studied, because that was just absolutely crazy. Dropping it all the way to average of a 124. Like you said, they brought him all the way down to like the minors, not even like the minors, like before the minors, whatever they call it, like developmental, kind of like Alek Manoah, essentially with a position player. So, which was crazy. And the cool thing, I mean, he said that he respected the overall demotion there, kind of maybe clearing his mind, right? Maybe seeing if he can kind of get himself back on track afterward, but he just never did. And they still owe him more than 30 million. I mean, that contract was what you can say was a complete bust. And yeah, just I mean, I really just don't know who wants to pick him up. I mean, I know that the Red Sox really have had some problems on first base, but I don't know. I mean, Tom Smith is really tearing it up. I mean, I don't really know how much you really could ask more with Tom Smith. And Tristan Casas coming back soon. So, I mean, there's not really a spot for Jose Abreu. I mean, Rizzo kind of pretty much is hurt right now over the Yankees. You probably wouldn't want to take him right now with the way things are kind of happening. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just like a team that maybe won't be out of it. Heck, maybe can go back to the White Sox. I mean, the way they're playing, they could really care less. Can't be worse. But yeah, this is obviously what you can say is a disaster for what was one of the most feared hitters in baseball at his overall position. So it sucks the way that things kind of happen over there. But when you're an Astro, last couple of years, I'm sorry, but I have no sympathy.
Yeah, any team right now can sign Abreu for a prorated share of the $740,000 major league minimum. The Astros would be responsible for paying the rest of that contract. And I was just looking at Abreu's stats with the Astros over the past 2 years. Like I mentioned, yet last year it took him forever to hit his first home run as an Astro. I don't think he hit his first home run as an Astro till the end of May, if I'm not mistaken. Somehow he finished the season though with 18 home runs and 90 RBIs. So that's not terrible, especially for somebody who's in his mid 30s. But the average, which is what Abreu was known for, plummeted down to 237 from 304 in 2021 or 2022. I'm sorry. He had 304 in 2022 and he dropped all the way down to 237. That's a significant drop off. And those were definitely raised some red flags. And this year it just went completely downhill. And like we mentioned, he was 14 for 113 this season for a 124 average. So Jose Abreu's prime, I think it's safe to say, is over. His major league career could possibly be over, but like you mentioned, I mean, maybe the White Sox will re-sign him and give him maybe a fitting farewell tour or something like that.
Yeah,
But
nothing.
I mean, they have nothing to lose. They've been losing all year long. So, but unfortunately, it would if this is what a sad ending to of an otherwise very good, respectable career. Um, and yeah, I really don't know what else you can say other than it's just it's just sad and shocking. I think that's the best way of putting it. But it's the Astros too, and they've had enough success over the past decade. So, yep, eat the contract. That's all. That's what I have to say as a, Yankee fan. And now we'll move on to what's going on around the league. You mentioned earlier how every episode it seems like we're talking about gambling scandals and injuries. Why don't we continue the trends and talk about injuries in this episode? Major League Baseball continues to lose its stars, and a lot of stars are going down with injuries. Mookie Betts of the Los Angeles Dodgers and Yoshinobu of the Los Angeles Dodgers both went down. Betts got hit on the hands with a pitch a couple of days ago, and he's going to be out for, I think, 2 months. He is most likely not going to be back till August or September.
Mm.
Aaron Judge also got hit by a pitch on June 18th against Baltimore. Fortunately, they did not find any cracks or fractures in his hands, but he's day to day. And Justin Verlander continuing to deal with injury issues of his own. He's got neck issues. So, yeah, I mean, the injury bug is just continuing to permeate around Major League Baseball. And that sucks, especially because a lot of these guys are big names around the league, and it's definitely going to hurt the product on the field. And, Betts is one of the most popular baseball players around baseball. And for him to go down is a big blow for obviously not only the game, but for the Dodgers as well. I mean, Betts is the catalyst, the leadoff man for that team. And it sucks. Betts was also my pick to win the NL MVP and very well could have been on his way to the National League Most Valuable Player award. I think with the amount of time he's going to miss, unfortunately, I think that's definitely going to hurt his case to win the award. It depends, though, on what he does when he comes back. He definitely did a lot, obviously before this injury. But that's a big blow to the Dodgers. And, the Dodgers rely heavily on the top three hitters in that lineup, that being Betts, Ohtani, and Freddie Freeman, and Will Smith, too, the top four, I should say. So, you take out, the caliber player that Mookie Betts is out of that lineup, it definitely makes the lineup more vulnerable. You're definitely losing a contact guy. You're losing a guy with speed and power. It definitely hurts. And it sucks. It definitely sucks. But fortunately for the Dodgers, they're loaded, they're stacked, they have a lot of depth in that lineup. So I don't think it's going to hurt their chances of winning the National League West or qualifying for the postseason. They definitely are going to win that division. They have a comfortable enough lead already to win that division. And their lineup is very balanced. Like I mentioned, in addition to the four guys that I mentioned, they also got respected veterans like Teoscar Hernandez and Jason Hayward. Both of them played a role in a very dramatic comeback victory for the Dodgers over the Rockies a couple of days ago. And but also losing Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who was having a very good first season in Major League Baseball. He has a strained rotator cuff, and he's going to be out for about, I'd say, about a month and a half, 2 months too. That definitely is a big blow to the rotation. And not only that, I think the Dodgers just lost Walker Buehler too, if I'm not mistaken. So The Dodgers' rotation is getting thinner and thinner. It's getting it's getting shorter and shorter in terms of options. I mean, the rotation right now for the Dodgers. I mean, you look at it; they have Tyler Glass now. Clayton Kershaw should be coming back relatively soon from injury himself. But that rotation now is going to be susceptible to some bad outings. I think more so now that you've lost Yamamoto and Bueller. And it sucks too because Yamamoto was having a very good year. He probably would have made the All Star team. And you're paying him all that money for all those years. I mean, I know it's only year one of the contract, but you just hope that this doesn't become a recurring theme throughout the course of the contract. If he's already getting hurt in year one, I'd be thinking, oh God, I hope this isn't a yearly thing, where he goes down a couple of weeks with an injury. I mean, pitchers nowadays, it's very rare for them to stay healthy from beginning to end without going on the injured list at least once. But regardless, this is still not good for the game. And also, it seems like Aaron Judge just seems to keep getting hit in all places of the hand. It's always the hand, it seems nowadays, mostly because the way his hands are positioned when he's over home plate, his hands just are naturally in line when pitchers are trying to pitch inside to him to try and go up and in. And it's just going to happen, unfortunately. There was some talk between around the media that maybe the Orioles intentionally hit Judge in the hand. I don't think that was the case. I'm a Yankee fan. I'm 99.9% sure that was not the case. Judge kills the Orioles. The Orioles are just trying to find a way to not let him beat them, and unfortunately, it got him on the hand. But regardless, the injuries just continue to mount around Major League Baseball.
Hey, Ryan, you sound like the team doctor, I guess, on this show because I feel like every single week you're reporting injuries. Yeah, I mean, just all along, losing Mookie Betts for a long time with the Dodgers. That sucks because I love Mookie, even though I wish ownership paid him, but that's another story for another day. But yeah, he's doing great over at the Dodgers, and just for him to go down for a long time, not only sucks for him, but it sucks for the game. Aaron Judge obviously getting hurt. That sucked. I thought Judge was his injury was going to be a little bit longer in terms of his overall. Once he got hit, I'm like, oh boy, didn't look good. But thankfully, there's no fractures there. Justin Verlander, I'm not surprised about because he's kind of getting up there in age. I mean, it does suck for him, but the last couple of years he's kind of been battling with a lot recently, whether it's obviously this or something else, but it still sucks for him because he's one of the best pitchers. And the Astros just been battling injuries left and right this year, especially in their pitching department. And then Yamamoto being hurt sucks as well. He pitched against, I'm trying to remember who it was. Kansas City, thank you. And he pitched a decent inning, but then Dave Roberts noticed kind of something from the dugout. Didn't seem like he was liking what was kind of going on there. And they took him out, and now he's down. So the Dodgers, they're kind of like now with their rotation from the last postseason, where they essentially kind of thin. They have Glass now. Bobby Miller is probably still around over there. So, I mean, they still have arms, which is crazy for the Dodgers because they essentially probably have like 2 or 3 or 4 arms that are probably 1s or 2s on other teams, but they're 4s and 5s on this rotation. It's crazy. But all in all, I mean, it just sucks. Of course, Anthony Rizzo against the Red Sox, he got hit, which personally, I mean, Yankee fans, there was a lot of people that felt that was intentional. I don't think it was. I mean, he obviously tripped over the bag. And now he's going to be out for, I believe, 4 to 6 weeks, maybe even longer. What's that?
About 8 weeks.
About 8 weeks. All right. Thanks, doctor. I feel like every single week, if we had the lottery and we'd have to talk about injuries or gambling, we'd probably be at an all-time high because that's really outside around the league. That's our show. And I don't know if we want to talk about it all a single time on this show, but that's essentially a lot of the content we get is either gambling or injury stuff. So here we are, and we just got more we got to report.
Oh, unfortunately, it's the big names, like I mentioned. A lot of big name all stars and superstars around baseball are just dealing with injuries this year. It's just going on and on around the league, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. Unfortunately, this looks like it's going to be a year-long problem, and it sucks. There's really no other way of saying it. But yeah, I mean, that's the most doctor you'll ever see out of me. I'm wearing white, so I guess it's fitting. But it's terrible. but but yeah, I mean, also going off of Verlander too. You mentioned how he's getting up there in age, and I think Verlander's best days are behind him. He's 41 years old. I think he's going to continue to deal with injury issues as he continues to push his body further and further into his 40s, and yeah, it stinks. There's really no other way to say it. I think that's, and also with Rizzo too. It was kind of weird the way that he landed. He didn't run into the pitcher or anything like that. It's like he slipped off the bag and then just did a somersault on the ground. And he mentioned how he thought he did something to his wrist. It actually was his forearm that he fractured, if I'm not mistaken, and he's going to be out for a while. And it sucks because I love Rizzo. I mean, he's had a horrible year though, and his best days are behind him too. He's not the same player he was when he was with the Cubs. He's put his body through. His body's been through so much over the years, and it's tough to watch him. His bat has really slowed down. I mean, he had that concussion last year with Tatis, and it's just your body can only take so much. So, unfortunately, the injuries have caught up to Rizzo, and as a result, he's going to be missing a good chunk of the season. We're not going to see him again until the end of the year, till like August or September, something like that. But that's the case with most of these guys who I just mentioned up. So, yeah, the injury merry-go-round continues, and most likely will continue throughout the course of the season. And we'll see if any other big names go down with injuries. I'm not going to make any bets though because I don't want to jinx it. So now we'll move on to. I know you're looking forward to talking about this. Your Red Sox took 2 out of 3 from the Yankees at Fenway Park this past weekend. Congratulations on the series win. Not happy about that, obviously, as a Yankee fan. Both of us predicted that it would be a 2 out of 3 series win, but we had the Yankees winning that series. So the Red Sox proved both of us wrong. Nice that they proved you wrong. Nice kick in the gut for me that they proved me wrong as well. But the Yankees dominated the first game of that series behind Luis Gil, who shut down the Red Sox offense for most of that night, although Gil did walk a couple of batters and wasn't as sharp as he typically has been this year. But it was the Alex Verdugo revenge show. Verdugo homered on the first pitch that he saw at Fenway Park as a Yankee because, of course, why wouldn't he? That's the way it goes in baseball. He also recorded 2 more hits, and the Yankees cruised to an 8-1 victory. Then in game 2, the Red Sox pounced all over Carlos Rodon. Rodon just could never find a rhythm. And it was all Red Sox really in the second game. I think Bayo started that game for the Red Sox on Saturday.
It was actually Chris Wall.
Oh, no, he was Friday.
Bayo pitched Friday.
I'm sorry?
Bayo pitched Friday.
Oh, Bayo pitched Friday. So was that a Houck or was that Crawford?
Criswell. Cooper Criswell.
Mm-hmm. Griswold pitched pretty well for the most part. The Yankees had their opportunities, but they couldn't capitalize, and the Red Sox eventually pulled away in the later innings. And then on Sunday Night Baseball was a wild game. The Yankees jumped out to an early lead on an Aaron Judge home run, but Marcus Stroman struggled, and the Red Sox ran the bases all over Jose Trevino's face. Stole 9 bases in the game, a team record, and the most stolen bases the Yankees have allowed in the game, I believe, since 1915 when they were the Highlanders, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the stat, if I'm not mistaken.
That's crazy.
Regardless, the Red Sox completely made Trevino look like a little league catcher. Trevino's a very good defensive catcher. He can catch pop-ups and he can frame, and he can block pitches in the dirt. But the one thing he can't do, which is a very significant thing that you need to be able to do as a catcher is throw guys out. Trevino has a pool noodle arm, and he throws the ball very, very slow. He's very slow to get out of his crouch, and the Red Sox exploited it. They put that on notice around the league, and like I said, they ran the bases crazy on him. I think Jared Duran had like 3 or 4 stolen bases in the game, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. He was on every inning. It seemed like every freaking inning there was the leadoff guy for the Red Sox got on base. Granted, the Yankee pitching didn't necessarily help out Trevino by all the walks that they allowed that game. Like I said, Stroman was not good at all on Sunday. He was walking a lot of guys, and he was nibbling and nitpicking on the mound. Caleb Ferguson, not a very good performance either on Sunday night. He definitely didn't help out the cause. And rough weekend for the Yankees. And like you mentioned, this is the best the Red Sox have looked all year long. The Red Sox had a very good homestand. They took 2 out of 3 from the Phillies and 2 out of 3 from the Yankees, both teams with among the top records in all of Major League Baseball. And now the Red Sox, you look at the standings. I mean, they're not anywhere close to the division lead in the American League East, but they're right in the wild card mix. So, they're right back in it. So, if you're a Red Sox fan, you got to feel pretty good about where your team is at. I mean, they're hitting, they're pitching. So, right now, we'll see if this lasts. But, right now, you can't really complain too much.
Yeah, I couldn't be any more wrong. Any more happy to be wrong. Sometimes that happens, with the best of them. I thought that with the Red Sox, the way that they were hitting, and I thought, it was kind of a fluky type of 2 out of 3 against the Phillies, but I couldn't be any more wrong. And, I knew that the Red Sox would probably win one of them. I thought that Saturday game kind of was just like, all right, either Saturday or Sunday, they'd find a way to probably pull one out and explode with the bats. Fox and ESPN, they team to, against the Yankees, seem to be okay. But I looked at that Friday game and I said, "Oh, this is gonna be a long weekend." Friday, Ryan, I had to experience watching the Celtics get absolutely whooped, and the Red Sox get absolutely whooped at a bar and the monsoon rain. So Friday wasn't definitely kind to me, but then thankfully Saturday, Rodon and Stroman were pitching really, really well, especially on the road. A lot of this season. So I was like, the Red Sox going to have to find a way to get things going. And thankfully on Saturday, they're just making contact, Jaron Duran and, Jamie Westbrook and, guys specifically that.
Don Rafaela killed the Yankees this weekend.
Yep.
He got a hit every single time he came to the plate.
Yeah. Seti is definitely, really happy for Seti because this is not just a little bit of a little run here. He's really turning on. Right now he went, I believe, from like 100, 112 in April, and he's literally gotten now, I believe, to like 250. He's still continuing to be red hot. He was off yesterday against Toronto, but 2 games beforehand, he had, I believe, multi-hits in that one. So, he hasn't been stopping specifically on that front. So, the Red Sox, they're playing really, really well right now. I couldn't be any more proud of them. By far the best week that, they've had. And, Sunday game, obviously, and Ryan, I would hate to kind of revisit this overall recap, but I thought we'd blow it. The Red Sox were up 4-3, bases loaded, top of the 7th. 3-0 count to Gleyber Torres. I was
going to talk about this.
Well, I'll let you take it away from here.
Oh, you want me to take it away? All right. Okay. Bases loaded. Nobody out. Top of the 7th inning. I forget exactly who was on the mound for the Red Sox, but whoever it was,
Zach Kelly.
Who?
Zach Kelly.
Oh, his last name's Kelly? Oh, good. Kelly continues to haunt the Yankees. That's always a good thing. Joe Kelly also haunted the Yankees too for a number of years. But bases loaded, top of the 7th. Yankees are down 4-3. You have Gleyber Torres at the plate. Torres has been awful all year. Torres is playing for a contract. Torres is playing for his job, basically, to remain with the Yankees for the foreseeable future. 3-0, he takes a pitch right down the middle for strike 1. Okay, it's 3-0. I can understand that. I can understand a little bit of that. Most pitchers obviously don't want to walk in, the tying run from third base, obviously, so they're going to throw you a meatball down the middle.
Right.
So, you know, you could have green lighted him. You could have green lit him there on 3-0. I wouldn't have had a problem with that as well, regardless of what would have happened if he, if he swung at the pitch or if he took it. I can understand it either way. So, he took the pitch, fine, whatever. Strike one. Count goes to 3-1. The next pitch, this is the pitch that annoyed me the most as a Yankee fan. It's the same pitch. Kelly throws the same pitch, and Torres takes it. That infuriated me. 3-1 is the ultimate hitter's count. Pitchers obviously are, when you got a guy on third base, like I mentioned, they obviously don't want to walk in the tying run.
Right.
So he's going to throw strikes. And like I said, 3-1 is the ideal hitter's count because obviously they don't want to put you on in any way. So they're going to challenge you most of the time with a fastball. And like I said, it's the same pitch and Torres takes it. I don't know what is going through his mind in that scenario. You're a hitter. You should know that. You're a professional baseball player. You should know that. But for whatever reason, Torres decides to take it for strike two. So now the count is full. And on the next pitch, Kelly throws a breaking ball or a changeup. I forget what it was, but it was out of the strike zone. It was down and in the dirt. And Torres has the most lifeless, laziest, non-competitive swing you would ever see in your life and strikes out. That sums up Gleyber Torres' 2024 season in a nutshell, basically. Completely lost at the plate, has no idea what he's swinging at, has no idea what he's looking for, has no sense of urgency or direction. And he got completely roasted by Yankee fans, and rightfully so. That was an absolutely pathetic at-bat. Torres should have been ashamed of himself. I would have ran into the clubhouse after that game. Like, that was so bad. That was probably the most pathetic at-bat by a Yankee this entire year, by far. And then the wheels just fell off from there. Jose Trevino strikes out on 3 straight pitches after Torres. Trevino's at-bat was equally as pathetic. And then DJ LeMahieu, who has done absolutely nothing for 3 years now, makes contact, but it's too little too late. He lines out to center field, and the Yankees leave the bases loaded. Absolutely disgraceful inning for the Yankees. And right after that inning, I knew the game was over, and I said the Yankees deserve to lose this game. They don't deserve to win if you can't score with the bases loaded and then nobody out.
Yeah.
And the Red Sox made them pay, and they continued to embarrass Jose Trevino in the 8th inning. And the 7th and the 8th innings. So, that was the way Sunday night went. It was a very ugly game for the Yankees. They deserved to lose 2 out of 3 to the Red Sox the way they played. They continue to struggle to play at Fenway Park. The pitchers continue to struggle pitching at that stadium. Granted, Fenway is arguably the hardest place to play as a visiting team. And, with the wall in left field, a lot of hits that get hit to left field are doubles. I'm not trying to make excuses for the Yankees. Their pitching did not do the job. But it was just a horrible week. It was just a horrible 2 games for the Yankees, Saturday and Sunday. They were just not pretty. And it's kind of crazy how drastically different those games were compared to Friday when the Yankees dominated the Red Sox. And then the Red Sox, repaid the Yankees the next 2 games. So you can't really predict baseball, I guess.
And it's funny enough because in the Phillies series, the Red Sox, the first game they lost, I think they got their ass whooped kind of good. And then they paid back the next 2, and they scored more than 6 runs in the last 2 after. So it was kind of a trend this week. And then, while I'm kind of here saying it now, they're on a 5-game winning streak. And Ryan, we could talk about the Blue Jays and are around the league, but playing them, good God. They are bad. They are wretched. Somebody on Twitter said it. Funny enough, I don't know if it's this far. They said that they're the White Sox of Canada.
I mean, I don't know if I would go that far.
Yeah. I don't think they're that bad, but I think that they're going to be a seller at the deadline. I really think they don't have any protection on that left-hand side at all. I know Vladdy obviously had a couple lineouts yesterday that were caught, but he hasn't been hitting much for power. He only has 7 home runs at this point in time. But Bichette didn't even play this week. I don't know what's going on with him, and George Springer is awful. I mean, I saw his overall average. He's like under 200, striking out a ton. He struck out 3 times yesterday.
He's a shell of the player he was with the Astros.
Yeah. So after beating the Yankees 2 out of 3 and beating the Phillies 2 out of 3, the Sox are off actually today, which is kind of nice. They go to play the Reds this weekend. The Reds have kind of been this year.
Mediocre.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Red Sox, if there's any chance for them to kind of get back into the wild card mix, in which they are at this point, they're only 1.5 games back. And if only the Twins start to lose, which finally they did yesterday. So I think maybe the Red Sox got a half game or whatever. Yeah, they're only 1 game back now. The Kansas City Royals are back now in the playoff picture, which is kind of cool because credit to the Royals, them and the Twins, 2 AL Central teams. So, yeah, I mean, it looks like maybe the Red Sox might not be a last-place team this year, and I know that's a low bar for me, but I cannot take another last-place finish. At least be competitive. We'll see in terms of what happens at the trade deadline because it'll be coming up pretty soon. And if John Henry does not spend a single lick on the second half of this season, Ryan, because think about it, Abreu's still not coming. He hasn't been played yet. He's been injured, and Casas hasn't been injured, and they're still finding ways right now to win, which is cool. It's really, really cool to see. And yesterday, Devers and O'Neill combined 0 for 9 at the plate. They scored 7 runs. So essentially, they're finding ways to score. And you're talking about Jose Trevino in terms of his arm and stuff like that. Alex Cora is my GOAT because he essentially kind of saw that as a weakness. He was just like, all right, we got David Hamilton, we got Jaron Duran pushing the pace essentially when you're not hitting for power. They're finding ways to score runs and at least make that happen for me. Make a fun team specifically. Even they're not going to be World Series whatsoever, even ALCS good. But if they're going to play like this, sign me up for this because I will watch this type of product. This was a fantastic week for me to watch this team. And I don't know if this will obviously last because maybe they're just overperforming, but I'll take this for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is unquestionably the best the Red Sox have looked all year long, easily. And yeah, we'll see if they're able to keep it up. And like you said, they're right back in the wild card picture. And they're knocking on the door. So the Royals and the other teams in the wild card race better keep looking over their shoulder because the Red Sox are right in the rearview mirror. And we'll see if they keep it up. But we'll wrap it up with around the league. We're just going to quickly go through the major league standings. And we'll start in the American League East as usual. The Yankees lead the American League East by a very slim margin, 1.5 games over second place Baltimore. The Yankees and the Orioles are in the middle of a very pivotal 3-game series at Yankee Stadium. Yankees took the first game. Orioles took the second game. Last night was a crusher for the Yankees. They came back from a 5-1 deficit, tied the game at 5. And then the game went into extra innings because, of course, Gleyber Torres couldn't come through again in the 9th inning. And, of course, Jose Trevino made another throwing error in the top of the 10th inning. And the Orioles barely won the game 7-6. But a win is a win. And I still hate that Manfred runner rule. I really do. I really hate it. And the Orioles take the second game. And tonight is the swing game of the 3-game set. And we'll see who comes out on top. Garrett Cole made his return to the Yankee rotation, by the way, yesterday. And he pitched pretty well. He struck out 5 guys. I think he only gave up 2 earned runs in like 4 innings of work, something like that. So very respectable first outing from Garrett Cole in his first start of the year. In third place are the Red Sox at 40 and 35. 10.5 back in the division lead, but they're right in the wild card mix. Like you mentioned, they're only a game back. They're 1 game back in the final wild card spot. So the Red Sox have kind of revitalized their season. In fourth place are and tied for last place in the American League East now are the Rays and the Blue Jays, both at 35 and 39. And the Blue Jays have lost 3 in a row and do not look good at all. In the American League Central, the Guardians have a nice, comfortable 5.5 game lead. The Guardians continue to play well. They're 45 and 26. Twins have been playing much better. They're 8 and 2 in their last 10, so they've been playing very well. They're 41.
Royce Lewis.
Royce Lewis going off. Carlos Correa has been going off too for the Twins as well. The Royals have really been struggling. They're 2 and 8 in their last 10. They've lost 3 in a row. They're 41 and 34 and are in danger of falling out of the wild card spot with the Red Sox right on their tail. The Tigers are in fourth, 34-40. They've lost 4 in a row. And, of course, the Red Sox in last at 20-55.
Hey, they beat the Astros at least.
Yeah, how about that? Go figure. In the American League West, it's all Mariners. Mariners are completely dominating that division. They have a 9-game lead and are 44-32. They are 8-2 in their last 10. So the Mariners might win their first American League West division title since their 116-win season in 2001, winning their first division title in 23 years. How about that? And barring an improbable comeback, that is, of course. Both Texas teams, the Astros and the Rangers, are tied for second in the American League West. They are both 34-40. Wow. The Astros have been embarrassed by the White Sox, although they did win last night, if I'm not mistaken. They won last night. They got shut out the night prior to
beat the Whites.
But they got shut out the night prior 2-0. The Rangers finally decided to win a game. They've been playing some pretty bad baseball. They were being humiliated by the Mets. A couple of days ago. Yeah. And they decided to finally win a game and decided to show what winning looks like at 34-40. They are such an infuriating team, honestly. You won the World Series year, and this is what you do the following year.
Yep.
That honestly infuriates me a little bit, unless you're the Red Sox. In fourth place are the Angels at 29-45. And the A's have actually won 2 games in a row for the first time since May, if I'm not mistaken. They are 28-48 and in last place. Oh my God. And in the National League East, the Phillies still lead the charge. They're 49-25, but they've kind of been slumping a little bit. They haven't been blowing opponents as easily as they've been in most of this year. The Braves have won 3 in a row. They're 41-31, so they've been playing a little bit better. It's about time they're starting to show their potential again. Yep. The Nationals are in third at 36-37. They've also been playing very well. They're 8-2 in their last 10. Then you have the red-hot Mets. 38. The Mets, unfortunately, they ran out of good luck from that McDonald's mascot. What's his name?
Grimace.
Stupid mascot. The Mets are in fourth place. They finally lost for the first time since Grimace threw out the first pitch. They're 35-38. I don't think the Mets. I think the Mets are pretenders. Don't kid yourselves, Met fans. In the last place are the Marlins, of course, at 25-49. In the National League Central, the Brewers 7.5-game lead, 44-30 in first place. The Cardinals are in second place, but they're 36-37, a game under 500. The Pirates are in third at 36-38. The Cubs are in fourth at 36-39. So that's a jumbled up mess in the middle of the National League Central. And the Reds are 35-39 and in the last. So the National League Central is just a disaster besides the Brewers. And then in the National League West, the Dodgers 46-30. They're in first place. The Padres have been stumbling again. Every time you think the Padres are going to get going, they shoot themselves in the foot and they fall right back to irrelevancy. They're 38-40 and in second place in the National League West. Defending NL champion Diamondbacks continue to disappoint. 36-38, third place. Giants are in fourth at 36-39, and the pathetic Rockies are in last at 36-48. And the wild card in the National League is utterly embarrassing. The Braves are the only team in the wild card race that have a winning record. Everybody else has a losing record.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So that's where Major League Baseball stands as of today, June 20th, 2024. Anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
No, I think you pretty much get everything. Great episode. Talked obviously about more injuries and gambling crap, but of course we didn't really want to, but that's the content we get. Red Sox obviously and the Celtics gave me a good week. We'll see specifically how the Red Sox do for the next couple months because that'll be my overall focus at this point now with the Bruins and Celtics being over with. So it's kind of, I guess, summer officially for me. It hasn't been. Obviously, it's crazy hot already. And so we'll see essentially which teams become hot, no pun intended, come next week. So great episode, Ryan, and I'll let you take it away from here.
Yep. Well, the baseball season is heating up as well as the summer, and we'll see where teams go. We'll see who gets hot and who doesn't. But on behalf of Ben Kruse, I'm Ryan Touhey. We'll see you next time.